It's okay to mess up or say something awkward. Every experience contributes to making you stronger. Doesn't have much money and lacks exceptional charisma, yet women always surround him. You might wonder, why is he so popular? But the more you observe, the less mysterious it seems. Up close, he radiates a relaxed vibe, maintains no sense of distance, and somehow, women naturally approach him. However, did you know this isn't just luck or some innate personality trait? These guys share something in common: 3 types of courage. It's not about having wealth or looks if you possess this courage. Women will approach you and stick around. Having just one of these makes dating significantly easier. But having all 3? That's practically cheating. By the end of this video, you'll likely be thinking, man, I wish I'd known this sooner. Because in dating, it's not about being handsome or wealthy, it's about the vibe and attitude a guy gives off. It stems from his inner strength. Let's dive into it. The first courage that women can't resist is bold. In simple terms, confidence. I'm not talking about being rude or disrespectful. It's about having the genuine confidence to approach a woman sincerely. Most guys think, wow, she's so pretty. I'd love to talk to her, but they freeze. Why? They're scared of rejection. What if she thinks I'm a loser? That fear paralyzes them. But guys who excel at dating, they're different. From their eye contact to their tone, they exude fearlessness. They don't just tolerate rejection, they nearly embrace it. Women, even if they seem cautious or reserved on the surface, are far more emotional and imaginative than men. They're drawn to exciting, stimulating situations. That's why these guys can stir a woman's heart with just a few words. It's not about being handsome or rich. It's their ability to express themselves confidently, remain unfazed by her reaction, and be honest about their feelings. That's what captivates women. Another key point: getting rejected doesn't mean you lose anything. You didn't have her to begin with. But by trying, you gain some experience, a better understanding of how women operate, and eventually, confidence. On the other hand, if you just stew in your feelings alone, you remain stuck. You start to think, why does this never work for me? And your self-doubt grows. Want to know what women dislike the most? A guy who likes her but does nothing except sneak glances from afar. That kind of look? It's obvious. And guess what? Women don't find it cute, they find it a bit creepy. They can sense what's behind those eyes. A guy who can't say anything despite his interest is less attractive than someone who smiles and says, hi, want to grab a coffee? Even if he gets rejected. A guy who laughs it off coolly. Women are drawn to that kind of composure. The second type of courage is not being overly obsessed with her. This is a mistake that many guys make early in dating. Some men, once they start a relationship, dedicate 20 out of 24 hours to the woman, texting, calling, gifting, and even scheduling their entire lives around her. At first, she might appreciate it, but soon it feels suffocating. This is too much, she thinks. What was intended to be fun begins to feel like an obligation, a burden. Women want a partner they can respect, someone who is busy, focused, and immersed in their own goals. When they notice a guy like that, they wonder, how does someone like him like me? That curiosity sparks attraction. But a guy who clings to her as if his life depends on it, that kills his appeal. It feels like she got him too easily, and that's just human nature, right? When something comes too easily, we tend to lose interest quickly. So, remember this: even if you like a woman, you should always be your center. A man who is immersed in his work or personal growth and shares his spare time with a woman is the kind of guy who sparks attraction. Women tend to like someone they feel they have to chase rather than someone who clings to them desperately. Acting as though your life depends on her, calling all day, meeting every day, sending dozens of texts will push a woman away. For women, it's not about the quantity of time spent together but the quality. Even a short moment feels meaningful if the guy seems genuinely happy to be with her. That's when women feel secure. The third key to attraction, the most important, is believing in yourself and acting on that belief. Many men are fun, witty, and confident around their friends, but when it comes to talking to a woman, they can't find the words. They worry about making mistakes or looking awkward, waiting for the right moment that never comes. Guys who are great at dating don't have those worries. They're relaxed and natural and can laugh off their mistakes, turning awkward moments into fun ones. Women are drawn to that kind of ease. A guy who is tense and overly cautious is less attractive than someone who is simply comfortable being themselves. That ease comes from inner strength, the attitude of knowing who you are, being proud of it, and not caring about how others perceive you. This quality draws women in and fosters trust and curiosity about the guy. Confidence in talking to a woman as if she's just a friend isn't something that can be bought with looks or money. That confidence can make average looks seem more appealing and ordinary speech more interesting. Ultimately, women are attracted to a guy who shows his true self, not a polished, fabricated image, but someone who speaks and acts naturally. That's the key to opening a woman's heart. Some of you might be thinking, yeah, easy to say, but it won't work for me. But that mindset is the problem. People who struggle with love often decide the outcome before even trying. They might think, I'm not good enough, before even approaching a woman, which leads them to shut themselves off. As a result, nothing happens, no connections, no relationships. In contrast, people who excel at dating focus on the process of trying, not the result. Their mindset is, if it doesn't work out, I'll try again. That's why they don't get discouraged by rejection, they laugh it off, which makes them appear even cooler. This attitude can move a woman's heart. Women respond much more strongly to a man's honest, emotional approach than to his appearance. Let's consider it from a woman's perspective. There's a guy who approaches her with heartfelt words, even if he's a bit clumsy. Then, there's another guy who remains silent and stares. Which one stands out to her? Sincerity always shines through. Don't aim for perfection, it's okay to be a bit awkward. What truly matters is having the courage to approach her. As I mentioned earlier, women are attracted to men they can respect and men who lead fulfilling lives. For instance, a guy who is glued to his phone all day, waiting for her text, is far less attractive than a guy who works out in the morning, works hard, and pursues his goals. Even if that busy guy sends a message saying, I was swamped today, sorry for texting late, that single message can capture a woman's heart. Women don't admire men who have all the time in the world, they prefer men who use their time meaningfully. That has a significant impact on a woman's emotions. Suppose you're overly attentive or contact her too much early in a relationship. In that case, she might think, does this guy have nothing else going on? Maintaining a certain distance and appropriate composure is key. Being too clingy doesn't work, but being too indifferent doesn't either. A man who finds balance, that's who women are drawn to. To recap, the common traits of men who captivate women can be summed up as 3 types of courage. First, the bold courage to approach with honest emotions. Second, the courage to stay centered and not invest everything into the woman. Finally, the courage to believe in yourself and act naturally, even in front of a woman. A man with these 3 qualities? Women are attracted to him, can't leave him, and often become more proactive in the relationship. Have you ever experienced something like this? You see a woman at the following table who catches your eye. But you lack the courage to say anything, so you exchange glances and leave it at that. Or perhaps you went on a blind date, and while things started okay, the conversation fizzled out, making things awkward, and it ended with, let's not keep in touch. Most people have had these experiences at least once or twice in their lives. But when these moments keep occurring, your self-esteem begins to suffer. You start thinking, why am I so bad at this? Am I not good enough? And you lose all confidence. In that state, even if you try to start dating again, your heart feels frozen. Even when a great person is right in front of you, you give up on the idea of potential before you even see it. That's where the problem starts. Today, I've prepared something for those who find themselves in this situation. This isn't about simple dating tricks, it's about becoming a genuinely cool guy who builds natural, deep connections with others. It's not just about being popular with women, it's more fundamental. I'm going to break down what makes a man attractive to women, what these men do differently, and how you can practice it step by step. It starts with 3 concepts: try, fail, repeat. These aren't just words. In dating, experience matters more than technique, and experience only comes through these 3 steps. No matter how much theory you know, if you can't speak in real life, it's useless. So today, I'll explain why these 3 concepts are crucial and how you can apply them in your daily life. First, try. It's about having the courage to approach someone. The important part isn't the outcome, it's the fact that you came. For example, a guy sees a woman he likes at a cafe. Most people run through 100 scenarios in their heads and end up going home without saying a word. But someone else might go up and say, "Hi, do you know any quiet bookstores around here?" That's a try. Whether it works doesn't matter. If you try 10 times, you'll get better at speaking naturally. After 20 tries, you'll start to read the vibe. After 30, you'll know how to choose conversation topics. That's growth through failure. Second, fail. Failure is inevitable. The question is whether you see it as a dead end or a chance to learn. For instance, if a woman says, "Sorry, I have a boyfriend," you get discouraged and never try again. That's an absolute failure. But if you realize, oh, that question might have been too forward in this situation, that's a valuable failure. You won't make the same mistake next time. Third, repeat. Repetition is about continuing to practice until it feels natural. At first, it might be awkward and challenging, your voice shakes, your face stiffens, and you stammer. But that's normal. Everyone goes through it. The difference is whether you stop there or keep going. Think about learning to ride a bike. You fell, scraped your knees, and fell again. At some point, you find your balance and start moving forward, and after that, you rarely fall. It's the same with dating. Repetition builds familiarity, familiarity creates ease, and ease generates attraction. Through these 3 steps: try, fail, repeat. What changes are you? You might begin this journey because approaching women feels challenging. But eventually, your attitude toward yourself shifts. You start thinking, "I can handle this situation. I'm someone who keeps trying." This kind of confidence doesn't just help in dating, it transforms your entire life. Let me share something important. The truth is that what women find attractive in a man isn't all that complicated. It's not about being incredibly handsome or wealthy. Women are drawn to confident men who believe in themselves and take responsibility for their lives. This is a direct result of your attitude. That attitude doesn't form overnight, it is refined step by step through trial, failure, and repetition. Of course, you might think, that's easier said than done. You're right, it's not easy. But anyone can do it. The fact that you're watching this video means you've already taken the first step, trying. Now, it's about moving through the second and third steps and continuing to put in the effort. In the following video, I'll delve deeper into how to practice these 3 types of courage in your daily life. And explore the specific attitudes that women unconsciously respond to. The thing you're missing might not be some grand technique, it could be one small action. Changing just that one thing can completely shift the dynamics of your dating life. If you followed along this far, you're probably beginning to see dating from a new perspective. Even if you don't feel a change right now, keep taking one step at a time, and the day will come when things do change, both in your relationships with women and in yourself. So, don't ever give up. Let's get more practical. We've discussed how trying, failing, and repeating are essential to success. So, how do you practice this? This is a crucial part because many people understand the theory but struggle to put it into action. Today, I'm going to share some specific exercises you can start doing in your everyday life. The first exercise is simple practice greeting people. Start by saying, "Thank you," to the bus driver. At a convenience store, try saying, "You must be working hard." You might wonder, what does this have to do with dating? It has everything to do with it. Why? Because it builds experience in talking to strangers. Once that becomes second nature, you'll feel far less nervous approaching a woman you're interested in. Seriously, people who can't talk to women often have one thing in common: they rarely talk to strangers in general. That's why it feels so awkward and nerve-wracking. But with practice, that feeling fades. The second exercise is sharpening your observation skills. This is critical, yet most guys overlook it. Women judge based on tiny details. For example, if you talk too fast or have a blank expression, she might think, "Is this guy not interested in me?" If your voice lacks confidence or you avoid eye contact, she might feel, "He's uncomfortable talking to me." These small details shape her perception. Your goal is to develop the ability to read people's reactions. This applies not only to women but also to friends, coworkers, and family. Pay attention to how someone's expression changes when you say something. Over time, this will help you quickly discern how a woman is feeling during a conversation. The third exercise is expressing your emotions in words. This is significant because women place much value on sharing emotions through conversation. However, many men aren't used to verbalizing their feelings, so their discussions remain surface level, leading women to think, this guy isn't interested in me. For example, instead of simply saying, I'm so tired today, you might say, I've been in back-to-back meetings all day, and my head's a bit foggy. But hearing your voice is making me feel at ease. It's essential to practice expressing your state of mind in words. It may feel awkward at first, but with consistent practice, it will become natural. This makes a significant difference in conversations with women. Now, let me share the most crucial aspect: the attitude that women unconsciously respond to. When I refer to attitude, I'm not talking about physical posture but rather the vibe and demeanor you project. Let's consider an example. A woman is sitting alone in a cafe when two guys walk by. One has his head down, absorbed in his phone, while the other walks with his shoulders back, casually looking around with ease. Even if neither says anything, the woman will likely notice the second guy. Why? Because his attitude signals confidence. The key is that women don't consciously think, oh, that guy looks confident. They instinctively respond to that vibe. It's human nature. Therefore, even if you're not great with words, relaxing your body, maintaining eye contact, and avoiding nervous fidgeting can significantly change how you come across. It's about conveying the feeling that you're in control of the situation, and that's what women respond to. This confidence comes from within. If you think of yourself as bad at talking, average looking, or short, that mindset will likely reflect in your actions and attitude. However, if you shift your perspective to I may not be perfect, but I'm someone who tries hard and is giving my all at this moment, that feeling will influence your demeanor. If this talk has given you even a slight boost of courage, that's more than enough for me. In the following video, I'll share how to use the rules of the unconscious to make your interactions with women more natural, along with real conversation examples that can guide a woman's emotions with ease. It's going to be fun and practical, so don't miss it. If you found this video even a little helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. Every bit of your support means a lot to me. See you in the following video. Thank you.